All right, so another episode of, our community spotlight, and today I have such a special guest. I'm super excited.
Special, I like that.
Yeah, super excited to have Michael Leggerio on the show, also known as Legs in some circles, famously.
Yeah.
But yeah, super excited to actually have this opportunity. This is what I've been waiting for, and we're talking community today, and a lot of what we've done in the past, but I always like to start chronologically. So like we met many years ago now, believe it or not, almost 10 years ago, pretty much. And when we first met, two powerful personalities in the room, I remember.
Yeah.
And we weren't fans at the beginning. Like we weren't fans of each other, but over the years, that has very much changed into somebody I admire, one of my mentors, somebody that's really helped me build as a human. And just so vital to my success. So I appreciate that and you coming on the show today.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So really, I want to start with, we met in the early days of recovery. We were men building men, like at the time, right? We were getting started, and I think one of the things that we had were a lot of dreams, a lot of ambition, but, there was a lot of work to be done, without a doubt. I think that was one of the precursors to our friendship, and nowadays you're my sponsor, you're one of my best friends. Like our kids call each other uncle. Like you can't beat it. The relationship that we have, the brothers.
Yeah, the brothers. That's right. Always.
That's it. And always, loyal and good to each other. And I think that's one of the things I've started to notice these days is a lot less competition, a lot more collaboration. Right? It's one of the things we talk about, leaving the door open for the people behind us.
For sure.
But really, one of the things that, we met early on, and we were in very different places in our lives, right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
At the time, I don't think you had, you weren't a father yet?
Nope.
That's come about.
I was probably single at the time.
Yep, single at the time, probably me as well.
Yeah.
And we definitely didn't have our careers going or anything of that nature,
No.
Right? No. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the early days, and I think we were looking for direction, really, right?
Well, yeah, the early days was like, for us, I think we stagnated our lives a ton, like with addiction and, alcoholism, addiction, whatever you want to call it. Like our lives got stagnant. We didn't progress. You kind of remained the same age developmentally that you were when you started using substances, right? So early on in recovery, you're just it's like a coming of age. It's like a coming out party. Like, all right, what do I want to, who am I? What do I want to become? Like, what does my spirit align with? Like, what are my social groups going to look like?
Right.
What are my career goals? Sometimes, our goals were so small, like you didn't really think bigger picture than you just wanted to obtain some stuff, you just fill the void with stuff that didn't really matter what it was. But, and then like you spoke about us at initially not aligning personality wise. We came from sort of two walks of life, right?
We did.
And you were more educated than I was. I was a little bit more rough around the edges than maybe you were, or I hung out with like a little rougher crowd, and that doesn't matter now, And the universe is a funny thing because sometimes it just puts the right people in your life, and you don't know why. Right? There's no rhyme or reason for it, and you're a right person for my life. You add a ton of value to my life. I add a ton of value to your life. It's a two-way street. Really, 100%. Like when we talk about like sponsorship and like mentorship, it's like you mentor me just as much as I mentor you.
Right.
You know what I mean? In my life, you being in my life is just as vital to me as I being in your life. Right. But like it goes back to like our personalities didn't have to align at that time.
Right.
Just know that they do now. Right?
They do. They do. 100%. And I think one time we were actually doing what we do best and giving back to those communities that helped raise us, build us.
Sure.
And I remember the line like it was yesterday. You said, there is strength in our diversity.
That's right.
Right? And I remember that night. Yeah. And I was feeling out of place, and I think you got up there, and we were talking, we were speaking actually at a Salvation Army.
Yeah.
And we had quite the crew with us, all different walks of life, like you mentioned, and we were just giving back. And I think that was one of the things, one of the core values we both learned early on.
Sure.
Give back to what it is that gave to you, right? That's our job now. Like, and that's beautiful that it started out and we did align, because I think the universe does have a plan sometimes. You know, we had to have faith in the fate.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, we had to have faith that this would one day all work out the way it was planned. And like you said, I think a lot bigger than both of us planned in a lot of ways.
Right.
We were shorting ourselves in early recovery, right?
Big time.
But that kind of led to our friendship, which led to us kind of building together. I remember, so I got one of my nicknames is Skip.
Skip, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Skip.
yeah.
We were playing basketball. Now I'm a hockey guy. A lot of Wilmington knows that. So we're playing basketball, and every time I take a shot, I actually travel.
Yeah, Skip.
So people are like, are you the skipper? Like, no, actually I just travel every time I take a shot.
Right.
And so they were calling me Skip, and it's stuck. And it's
well, it just works
one of
with your
those great
personality
nicknames.
too. You're kind of like, you're bouncy, like you skip into a lot of different groups and pathways and stuff like that, and it's a good thing because you're like the energy guy, you know, and everybody needs an energy guy in their corner, and you're that, you know, you're very social. When I go into like social settings, I'm a little bit more reserved and like I feel out the room first, and then I get comfortable, right? You're the opener. You can open the doors for people, which is an essential skill. Like, it's good to have an opener. So that's why you skip.
It's good.
You can skip around the room. You skip when you play basketball. It's just fitting.
It is. It fits my personality. It's definitely my energy level, right? Yeah. And I think that's good, because I think one of the first things I noticed, and one of the things that really drove me to you, was that, you know, coming from a place of not always feeling worthy or feeling included, it was never a question that Mike was always like, you know, hey, come on, you coming. Right. And I think that was one of the things I really valued. Like, I needed somebody to, like, you know, we're self-built men, both of us, without a doubt. And so that took a lot of like help. Like, it took a lot of somebody believing, like you just said it, you're like, and we love that about you, right? And, you know, for a while there, it was like, why am I so skippy? Why am I so, like, you know, energetic? Right. But that's something that you saw as a strength,
right,
before I could even see it, right? And you know, I saw your leadership skills long before the world saw them, and you saw that in me. And I think that's one of the things that really bonds us together, is we see so much greatness in each other.
Sure.
Just from the fact that we see through each other's, you know, exterior, you know, motifs or whatever. And we actually see each other's hearts, and those are big. The spirit, and that's what we connect on, the spirit.
The spirit aligns, yeah.
So that's great. When we started, I remember we kind of got together with that. And then, you know, very early on, you had gotten you have about 40 more years in the game than I do. And I think at that point, one of the things I learned very quickly was that service above all, above self, above everything, was you need to give to get. Right. And I think giver's gain is as a motive and an actual saying in some of my networking groups. And I think that that's a big part of my existence today, and yours. Sure. I think, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I want to do this around Thanksgiving and the holidays, because I wanted to really, you know, talk about that aspect of us. Is like, it's not just, we don't just do it. Like, it's a part of us.
It's a part, yeah.
Right.
Well, the primary purpose, you know, in our recovery is to give away what we have. Like, this gift that we have, the freedom that we have, like, it's purposeful to give it away, right? It does so much for us to give it away. Like, I have to make myself small and make others big, you know, or make myself small and make, like, the universe big, a higher power big, my God big. And the only way I can do that is, like, giving a ton of myself, you know, giving away a ton of myself to people in service. Because, like, the disease of addiction, like, it's self-centered in nature, right? We're selfish to the core. We're only concerned about our needs and our needs being met, right? But when I can think about the needs of others primarily over and prioritize them over the needs of mine, I just do a lot better. You know, I think
You're happier.
less. You know, I'm happier. The hamster wheel in my head isn't as active, you know, because I'm too concerned with serving you, helping you get to achieve the next goal, or helping you to your next step in sobriety, helping you with whatever you want to accomplish.
Right. And that was that was a theme. And I remember one of the things that drew me to you right off the rip, and probably one of the reasons why we didn't is we were both very unapologetically ourselves.
Right.
Genuine people, right?
Yeah.
We're genuinely who we are. We're authentic.
Yeah.
And that serves us because, you know, I think a lot of times people want to be who they are. And sometimes society as a whole does a number on that. And people have trouble sometimes just being them, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that we clung to early on. And I remember the way you dress. You have a lot of style. You drip, as the kids would say. And I remember thinking, like, you know, for me, it was always very clear cut, like, you know, like polos, things like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think one of the things that I looked up to is the courage to be myself with you.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's served us for many years to like go into a setting, unapologetic, be yourself, be who you are, and let others in the room do the same.
Sure.
Right? Let them be who they are.
Sure.
You know? And so we started rocking many nights, many times. You know, I think back to some of the tougher days in the early days. I mean, I've gone through some loss, and I can't think of a time that, you know, I didn't have a heavy loss in my life where you're not one of the first phone calls. And getting on that phone and talking me down or talking me up, as you would, you know. And I think that was a big part of our connection, was like time and time again, I found that I could fall back and rely on you.
Sure.
And that was like such a huge lesson for me because, you know, as one of my male role models, like I needed somebody to like understand that, to show me that, so that I could then go on and do that.
Right.
And it's something we you know, we joke about, but like, you know, we get on each other, we call each other on that stuff, and we keep each other in line with, you know, hey, make sure you're doing this for the right reasons, with your heart in the path of your motives, right? And that's been a big theme for us, and I think it served us so well. I remember we've taken different avenues. We both worked in the back shops of what we do today. We both learned the industries that we're in from the inside out. We put the years in, and you know, if anybody ever asks how you do it, it's very simple. Take the word how out, do it.
Do it. Yeah.
You do it, right?
Jump
You
right
walk
in.
the walk, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was something I learned from you and the guys around us. We keep a team of you know, gentlemen around us that we keep each other building up.
Sure.
Like we don't allow each other to stay in that comfort zone. You know, there's no growth in the comfort zone. There's no comfort in the growth zone. These are the things we've been taught. And, you know, I think earlier on, you know, that was huge for me, a big part of it. And one story I'll always remember is I got my new role, and I think you had taken on a new role a year or two before. And I said, well, I got a sales role now. So like, how do I get into the role of a salesman? And I think one of the things you said to me is, you don't, Austin. You do exactly what you did to get there.
Yeah.
You're just you. That's what got you to that position.
Yeah, your biggest skill set in sales is being who you are. Right. If I try to become something I'm not, and I just develop this stage character in order to sell a product or sell myself, I'm not indeed selling myself, right? I'm not selling the service that I provide because I become an actor, right? But if you authentic, people want to know. Authenticity outweighs everything when it comes to branding, sales, marketing, right? Like that's what I found. And you know, you may get a slower climb to the top,
right?
But you have a longer runway
there. Yeah,
while you're there.
Further.
You know what I mean? And it's more sustainable, and the trust is there. Your integrity's there, your dignity's there, the way people speak about you to others is there, which is very important too. It's like you have to leave an impression on someone, and what's the best way to leave an impression on someone is be your authentic self. Right. Because nobody can replicate that. Exactly. There's only one Austin, there's only one Skippy, right? If Skippy is Skippy in every conversation with everyone he encounters, people will remember that. You'll leave your mark on them. If Mikey Legs is Mikey Legs and everything he does, and truly believes that diversity is strength, and truly believes that, you know, we can't ask for like God's will and then judge his will for us in the terms of like who's put in our lives and who we're able to serve and who we're able to help, I wouldn't be me, you know, I wouldn't be able to be the guy that, you know, get joked on for what I'm wearing, or just being my authentic self. And I think in sales and in business, like people want to know that you're real. And you'll see some people who aren't real succeed and excel and do all this, but it's finite. There's a limit to it.
There is.
There's a limit to it.
There's a growth limit to that.
There's a growth limit to it.
And I think that's one of the things, if we're always ourselves, then we're always authentic, then we're always willing to learn.
Right.
Like, we remain teachable. And I think that's the growth. That's the idea behind this, is like, where can I improve? What areas can I improve in? And being able to take a guy like you in my life telling me the truth. I don't, necessarily want you in my life to be like the yes man, and vice versa. We want to be able to say, hey, this is what we need to work on. Like, this is what I see on a loving point of view. Because I've been told when someone says something to you, it's either coming from a place of self-reflection, which you got to really block that stuff out because that's the negative, or it's coming from a place of love.
Right.
It's coming from like, hey, I genuinely see where you can be a better person right now. Right. And I think that's what we've built on in terms of many aspects of our lives. And I think that's the other thing is, like you said, show somebody your authentic, genuine self. And that is huge because when we're doing that, we're showing the truth of every aspect of our life. Like, this isn't something when the cameras turn off, we just go and do other things. Right?
Yeah.
This is who we are.
This is it.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned like the branding aspect of it and like kind of showing people what we are and who we are, because speaking of brands, so I've been working on the Awesome Rates brand for a couple of years now. Right.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I had dinner plans with you. I'm sitting at the house and I'm brainstorming ideas. And I'll never forget, you walked in and within like 30 seconds, he just goes, oh, this is easy. Awesome Rates. Take that. That's the one. And I was like, that's it. It works.
Yep.
And ever since, that's the handle we're on right now. That's the brand I've been working on. And you said it, integrity and having that authenticity is not always the easiest path, because the shortcut is the other way. Right. So to go that way is the longer route.
Yeah. But what are you giving up?
Right. You're giving up everything, right?
Right.
And you said it. What is it? Overnight success in 10 years?
It took me more than 10 years.
Right.
And I still don't look at myself as a success.
Right.
Like, I'm successful in the terms of I have a beautiful family. I have health. I'm 40 years old and I still work out. I'm still active. I have a great social network. I have great friends and community and family. Financially is like, I'm a success financially, but I measure my success on how many people's lives I can impact on a daily basis. So I'm never done.
Right.
Because it's like you're always going to encounter more people that could use your influence or they could use your impact. So it's like my job's never done. I'm a success in terms of like all the things that I ever imagined that I would accomplish in my life. I have. I'm a homeowner. Loving family, son, dog.
Right. Dog now.
Business owner, great social network.
Right.
Person in recovery. I have a good reputation.
Right.
For giving back and helping others. And I don't know what else is there. It's just to continue what we're doing. That's why it's like, it's when you label yourself a success, I feel like there's never really room to do more. Right. So it's just like, keep going.
That's beautiful. And you talk about it the right way, because we said, we've been taught to give back. What is it that we give back? And that is what we give back.
Right.
It's like, that's what people want, is like, you want a purpose in life. You want those things that aren't measurable materially. Like, these are the things that I admire about you, is like that genuine, awesome family man, that guy that just like has that network, that, that's the stuff that we can spread.
Well, that mindset is the success.
Right.
The bank account and all that stuff, it doesn't really matter. Like tomorrow, like someone in my family could lose their health and all that money means nothing.
Can't use
like
it.
I can get them the best health care in the world with the money, Not that I'm not saying that I'm that well off, but if I were, you can get them the best health care in the world, but like, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't really, it has, like, if my loved one is sick, I trade all the riches, to get them well, right? So it's like the success is to have all these people in your life healthy, well, and you have the ability to be present and continue to go forward.
So it comes back to love and having an endless amount of it in many areas. And I think, like you said, time's really it. And so the time we spend on earth, it is short. And so having that ability to look at success in that light, I want to have a purpose. Like, I want to be able to feel fulfilled. And that is something that we both feel today. Like you said, the bank accounts, all that stuff, that's not what matters.
No.
The more important thing about life for me is I'm feeling fulfilled and I feel a purpose and direction. I feel needed and loved by people, and vice versa. I need and love these people around me.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the things that you know, in both of our businesses that set us apart is like, I'm not in this to do a deal.
Sure.
I'm in this to build a relationship with you because I genuinely want you to be happy and you genuinely want me to be happy. Then boom, let's rock. Like, you know what I mean? And that's something that's priceless, like you said. And we've seen it. That's part of like being down. When you've been down before, you've seen times where, you know, I could have the endless monetary things in the world right now, and I can tell you right now, it will not help the situation.
I don't feel good.
Right.
Yeah, I still
it's
don't
not
feel
going
good.
to fix
Yeah,
this.
It doesn't matter.
Right? And so that's beautiful, and I think that's one of the things that...
Yeah, you can't spend your way out of depression and crippling anxiety and worry and self-doubt and all that stuff. You can't spend your way out of it.
Yeah, you can't get money to get the hamster wheel to stop. Who do I pay to stop the hamster? It doesn't work.
But money could, like the tool that money is a tool to buy you more free time or freedom, right? It can buy you free time to spend with your family. It can help you with, you know, taking some time off, being more present with your family. It can help you with having some luxuries that, you know, if you didn't have the money that you couldn't, you'd have to, you know, spend money on whatever it is, like just to free yourself up a bit, you know, to be there with family.
It gives us opportunity. And if you take everything away from me, give me the opportunity. Give me the opportunity to be that person that we're talking about, like to be that genuine, authentic person, to show love. I don't care what I do for a living or what I have for success in terms of that. If I can be the genuine Austin, the genuine Skip, then I've succeeded.
You've succeeded, absolutely.
And that's it. And we talk about that. Is like wealth is health, wealth is time, wealth is family. And that's what really the opportunity these days is I seek, is like, how do I get more fulfilled in terms of those things? Right. And so that's where it's been. And the beautiful thing is like in all aspects of that, we've been able to take what we've done and we now have things that we can give back to those same communities and people. We can open those doors, right?
Yeah.
And it's a vital thing. Like, it feels good to be able to, you know, go back to those same neighborhoods or places and say, all right, like homework club. Way more important than me going on a trip somewhere or something. Is like getting the kids involved and showing them that the possibilities of those things are so much more valuable to anyone, right? And I think that's why it's like such a beautiful thing to like kind of be in our group, right? Because we all really have had lessons in life that have taught us very early on that a lot of things that a lot of people put value to don't matter.
Don't matter, right?
They don't. They don't matter.
They don't.
And that's a beautiful thing that we've learned earlier in our lives. Like you said, you just turned 40, I'm 36. And we have nothing but time and opportunity to go on with that genuine, authentic foundation we built. Right? You know, you talked about that. And it took keeping your integrity, not taking those shortcuts, you know, the things that are easier. Like you said, you can get there quick if you really want to.
Yeah.
But you do it in all the wrong ways, you've got all the wrong feelings around it. You're not going to...
It's just not going to
last. You're not going to fulfill it. It's not going to last. It's not going to work, right?
No.
And so that's a beautiful thing. And, you know, these days in both of our careers, we've been given opportunities to have those things like family, like a home, like a place to have a puppy in the suburbs, like you said. And that's like such a beautiful thing today. Like, if anything else, this world's given me freedom, right? And that's beautiful. Like, that's what it is that I searched and earned for so long and just didn't know it. You know, it took me going down some wrong roads. You know, we've seen that even in our recovery and even in later years, even last few years, it takes you like kind of, you know, we say it, the wins and the losses comes with being the bosses.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen where you're just going to have tough days or like you're going to make big mistakes. But the network around me, like the guys like you, that's what's so important about it, is like trying to figure out this world, trying to figure out life, but having like a network that loves me for me.
Right.
So no matter what I do, I have that and I can fall back on that at any time. And it's just such a beautiful thing to like have. Like, that's the beauty of what it is we've been able to get, you know? And, you know, I think one of the things that we both get to do in our careers is help people. And that's like super amazing that I get to do what I love on a natural day-to-day basis. Like, I found careers that I don't feel like I wake up and work. Right. I don't feel like I ever wake up and have to like go somewhere to do work. Like, I'm just getting to go be Austin somewhere. You're getting to go be Mikey somewhere. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that is just so beyond blessing in life is like I get to go out like this right here. I get to have my brother on a podcast and just have fun with it.
Just talking about real life stuff.
Talking about
our
real
experience.
life. Right. And there's pain that comes with that. It's not all peaches and rainbows. We talk about that. And you know, it's the good days aren't the days where you notice that all those things you talked about are where it is you need it. It's when you're in trouble. It's when you have those days where you need to realize what is valuable. Like, who's going to show up in my corner?
Right.
And that's something I've always seen in you is like you've always shown up in my corner. And so beyond anything I do, whether or not I take a shot and miss, I still know that Mikey's going to be there with me. Like, I'm going to have my friends in my corner, the genuine, authentic relationships. And I think that's the love that we talk about. You know, and I've heard it before, but you know, whenever there's love in the room, like that's our higher power. That's our success right there. Mm-hmm. And that's like what I believe firmly today. And I think that's what allows us to be so happy with it. You know, people see that genuine happiness. They see us enjoying life.
Yeah, just content. You know, yeah, life's cool.
We're not the most successful guys monetarily on the planet, right? But we're happy.
And that's the thing about having people that are successful in your life is, and you know, comparison is the thief of all joy, right? Like, because I can walk out the door and say, I know 10 friends that have much more than me, you know, financially and business-wise and things like that. And I can look at them and I can play the victim. I was like, oh, why them and why not me? And, you know, and I work just as hard and just all this stuff. I can get caught up in all that, you know. But instead, it's just like, be happy for them. Like, they have that. I have what I have now. I'm still healthy. I can still work for more. I could still, you know, grind and hustle and I can put together more of what I need and what I want and they can have what they want and that's okay. That's just what their destiny was. Maybe it was to just have a little bit more before I did, but I can still work hard and get the things that I want to.
Right. And at the end of the day, to focus on any of those things outside of yourself and to focus on others and compare, like, you don't get to live in the moment.
You don't get
to enjoy it.
No.
There's no contentness.
No.
Right? And it's like, what are we doing? And that's, I think, one of the themes that all of our friend group has had since the very beginning is like, I'm your biggest fan.
Right.
You're my biggest fan. Like, that is what it is we do for each other.
Yep.
No, regardless of what you're doing, I'm rooting for you. And I think that is such a vital thing to have in life. And I think both of us have been very blessed by the women in our lives that we both have found that are very much supportive of what we do and helping in that sphere.
Absolutely.
And then allowed us to really build on what is important. Because I think for me, I can speak for me, and I'm sure you feel the same, but like once I had a son, like the world changed.
It's over. Yeah.
It's just a whole new ball game, right?
That's the most important person in my life.
Of course.
You extinguish the fact that you're the most important person in your life by that, and they just step in and take that role.
Yeah.
You know, now I have to make sure all of his needs are met. But it also catapulted me in my career and gave me like the supreme amount of motivation that was required to get where I wanted to be. Because I wasn't allowing anyone to get in front of where I wanted to be. And I was going to do it the right way. I did it the right way. And, you know, my thing was, I'm just going to make it happen.
Right.
However I can. And I made it, and like, I made it happen, you know, and I'm going to continue to make it happen. But, you know, that I thank God every day for my son and my family, because I don't know if without the motivation of my son, if I would have worked as hard.
Right. The ultimate motivation.
The ultimate motivation.
I took the role when she was pregnant.
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And like, this was a non-lose scenario. There was no losing in this grind. You know, the worst market in 40 years. So many things they wanted to tell you in the negative sound and light of it all. And it was like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like the ultimate motivation is now in my life.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. And like, you know, I think what's beautiful is that early on we had to rebuild. Like you said, we had to learn to live. And then we had to learn to, like, you know, navigate this place they call Earth, which sometimes can be difficult. And then, like, we had to, like, you know, walk through the fire almost. And then, not almost, we did. And then we had to learn how to teach other guys to walk through that same fire. And, like, for so long, I kind of, like, learned all this stuff and just didn't have a grip on what my purpose was until I had them. And now it's like, okay, that's it. That's the ultimate. That's the guy I got to walk through anything with for the rest of his life. And it's getting me emotional thinking about it. But it's like, you know, I don't regret any of the experiences I've had, negative or positive, because all that experience is something I can use to now give on to my son.
Not only that, you're not here in this moment without them.
Right.
Anything good or bad that happens in your life brings you to where you're at currently.
Right.
You know.
Right. And I count them as blessings.
The blessings, yeah.
It might sound wrong, but like even the negatives, like thank God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thank God for that. Because like you said, like it's a learning curve. I remain teachable. I try to have humility with it. Humble, that's important, because like I don't know everything. I might not be the smartest guy in the room, but like you said, one of the things I've noticed is that my hustle is like, that's there. That part's there. And I think I admire that in you a ton. There's not many guys where I'd be like, oh, that he absolutely masters my hustle. Yeah. That is something that I totally see in you and a lot of our friends in the group. Yeah. You know, it's not that we're not satisfied that by what we've done. It's that we just know by what we've learned that we earn for more. Like there's so much more out there to discover, to experience, and to share that experience is like amazing too.
And there's always more to do, right?
Right.
Because like if I rest on my laurels, if I rest on the work that I put in the past, like I have the ability to lose it all. Like I know how to lose it all. I've lost it all numerous times in my life, you know? And that's why like recovery is vital, and being an addict and a person in recovery is so important, because I know what it's like to have some stuff, lose it all, get it back, lose it all. Like, and that's why there's always more work to be done, because I never want to lose it all.
Right. And I think again.
Right.
And I think that's what, we were taught very early on, is like figure out how to not lose it all, and then give that back so wholeheartedly to everybody and anybody that needs it. Mm-hmm. And it's like almost like a contract we're in with the universe. Right. Is like, just because of the lowness and how deep and down we've gotten, simple fact brings it to the fact that now I know what it is my purpose is for the rest of my life. Like I have to start first and foremost with my recovery, like you said. Mm-hmm. And even when we got here 10 years ago, like stigma around that has wholeheartedly changed. And it's like something that, you can have a lot of things. You can do a lot of things. Like you can overcome Jurassic things. And I think that's been a huge incentive for not just us, but the community that we're a part of. Like I can never not be a part of that community. Right. I'm forever bonded to them. And no matter what I do, no matter where I go, I take that with me. Right. And so I put that amount of effort into it, and I give back based on that. And I think it's something I've learned from you, like, and I admire about you. And that's why you're one of my idols, because like, I know it sounds weird saying it, because we don't talk like this when we're not on these type of settings, but you're big bro. Like that's what it is like, if I can be just like my guy and I can move and operate like that gentleman, then I'm going to be proud of myself. Not for like you said, we might have totally different setups when it comes to the outside world, when it comes to bank accounts. Mm-hmm. But if our souls are both on fire, right, and we know how to set fire to the strip and bring it back to people, like forever, give me that, take away everything else. Mm-hmm. Because that I want my son to look up to the most. Right. What I see in you the most, what you see in me the most, those are the things I want to give to that next generation. Right. Is like I want them to see that in us, you know, that fire. Right. And I don't think we've ever lost it. No. I think it's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been great to see it and to kind of experience it. One of the things that, I've seen you be able to do is from the field you're in to starting your own shop, much like me, and starting your own brand, like Recovery Team Newton. Mm-hmm. And this is where it is like, you get to make the call nowadays on a lot of things like, hey, we're going to help this person. Mm-hmm. And somebody might come at you and be like, well, there's 10 reasons why you shouldn't do this. You're like, you don't understand. This isn't part of the negotiation. Like, we're going to get this done for this person.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's like the contract that I'm talking about with the universe is like, well, why? Well, because somebody did that for me.
Right.
Somebody at one point was like, you know what? I'm going to give this kid the shot.
Let me give him a shot.
Right.
Yeah. And at times when we didn't maybe deserve a shot. Right?
We didn't always. And so, yeah.
And you never know, because it's like, you never know when like that one last opportunity, or that one more opportunity, I should say, is the opportunity that turns into something special, because everyone needs that one last opportunity to turn into something special.
And then you get to see it, and you get to watch it, and you get to be a fan. That's what a lot of people forget is like, with no jealousy or hate in your heart. You get to honestly want to see everybody else around you succeed.
Right.
One of the things it's in our constitution. It's like, we're not competing. I want to see you do well. I can do well. We're going to do well together. Like, and doing well, like we said, doesn't necessarily mean in terms of being business owners or, you know, having brands and things like that. It might just be the fact that, you know, I think I've been blessed that anybody walking down the street that's in a really tough spot, especially when it comes to addiction or things like that, I now have the tools to help them. It doesn't necessarily, like, this isn't to get you a house. This could just be a simple phone call to somebody I know to, like, get you the help that you deserve or need, like you said, because everybody deserves that next shot. Mm-hmm. And it's tough sometimes because people will be like, well, why would you do that? Why do you help? Because that's what it is we do. And somebody did it for me, like you said, not always deserving. Somebody just kept trying.
Right.
And that eventually, you know, it paid out in spades in the fact that we are able to do this now for our own communities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, wow, dude. And I think that's why one of the beautiful reasons and like why I wanted to have you around the Thanksgiving time of the year, because what I noticed about the Thanksgiving time and the holiday season is the world gets on board with our mindset.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
like they say, this is the time I got to give to charities. This is the time I got to give to food pantries. Yep. This is the time where I got to remember that not everybody is as blessed as I am.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And
clothing drives.
Gift
drives. Yeah.
Gifts. Right. Gifts for the holidays. Mm-hmm. And these are the things that we were taught to do in August. We were taught to do that in June. Because there's always somebody out there that you can be utilized by that person's soul at any time of the year.
Sure.
But this time of the year, it's like, this is when the rest of society kind of wakes up to, you know, these pantries and everything like that, I've noticed, like, just so flush during these holiday seasons. And it's like, if we can just capture that motivation from society at any time of the year, what a beautiful thing it would be. Like, you know, this is a country that's very fruitful. This is an area of the world that we have it.
Abundance. Yeah.
Abundance is everywhere. And, you know, we've talked about us having the disease of more. You know, it's unhealthy for us to consume in the disease of more. But it's very healthy for us to consume in the disease of more help for people.
More help, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
There's never enough. You said there's never not work to be done.
Right.
There's never not a new generation of people that need this help. And I think that's where I've seen from you very early on, it's like a constitutional makeup. Like, this is what we're going to do. And if I have to forego some things that I necessarily thought I wanted, that's just part of what God's putting in front of me. I got to do it this way because it might be the longer road. It might be more difficult, but it's so wholeheartedly what my purpose is.
It's more rewarding.
It's more rewarding. Yeah. And I can't argue with it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, years and years of us seeing these things, you know, watching miracles happen. You know, there's a lot of things that can be explained by science, that can be explained by medicine, or, like, you know, the way that people study things, and giving that guy one more shot or giving that girl one more shot and then seeing them turn that into a beautiful, abundant life. There's nothing you're going to feel better about on this planet.
That's the reward for the work.
Right.
Know? And that's in working in treatment. I've worked in treatment the last 8 years. Unfortunately, you deal with more losses than wins.
Right.
But the wins are so spectacular that they outweigh the losses in terms of not like losing people. I just mean like relapse and, chronic relapse, in and out of treatment. You know, a person that you look at like, oh man, I don't really have much hope left because it's a cycle at this point. But then when you see them flourish and, you know, accomplish all the things that we were able to accomplish early on in recovery and then some, it gives you that gratifying feeling like, all right, this is why I chose the work that I do every day. Although there is a ton of disappointments and losses and, you know, negatives of working in treatment, that outweighs it all.
It does.
That makes it all worth it.
And you aren't wrong. You know, I've had many different ventures. I got my hand in different things, and this is by far the lowest success rate in anything that I do, unfortunately.
Yeah, easily.
But like you said, those small wins become massive. Honest miracles, right? And you get to see somebody carrying a kid around, you know, going to baptisms or weddings or whatever it is that these people have that are so beautiful, those moments. Like, I'll trade that for all those losses all day long. Right? Because you just never know, too. That's the other hard part about our you know, I've been able to delve back in and help out a little bit more in the recovery side of things. and it's been freeing, and it really was something that my soul was missing. I stepped out during COVID, and I've been able to get back, with some of the, like you said, time that we're able to make up for nowadays. And I think that one thing has really been resonating with me lately, because like when you see that one success and 100 losses, you see that one success, it resonates with my soul. Right. It really does. It vibrates inside me when I see that, because what a beautiful thing it is to see somebody rebuild and be able to come up. America loves an underdog.
Yeah,
right?
Loves
America
an underdog,
does, right? And that's one of the things is like, we're always working with the underdogs. That's what we were taught. We are the underdogs, right? We're not supposed to even be here.
The underdog is the most important person. We praise the underdog in meetings and
we
things
come in,
like that.
You're the most important person in the room. You're the new guy.
You're the new guy.
When you go into like an office setting or anything like that, like that's not, and you start a team.
The CEO, the VP is usually the most important.
And you're on a team, the captains, the veterans. But on this, when we do this, it's that person.
The person who has the
key.
absolute least is the most important
person in the room. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And, I think that's one of the things that I wanted to have you on the show about, is because, hopefully some things do last for me. And this is one of them. And I'll be able to have you many a times on this show. Because like you said, neither of us have any quit in us with this. We've been taught our purpose early on. I've gotten to experience those. You said, what a magical thing it is to see somebody, the underdog, come up and win. And you've done the corporate life. You've delved into that. You were in retail for a while. You had and you had success there measured by the real world, if you would.
Right, absolutely.
Right? You did really well in some of those careers, but it wasn't until I saw you get into that recovery sphere, or our jobs where we're able to help people. It wasn't until then that our souls caught fire.
Right.
It wasn't until then that you saw the light come on in the heart.
Yeah,
right?
It didn't quite move the dial for me. I mean,
No.
I liked what I did, and I was passionate about that as well, but I really came into my own when I started working in treatment.
Yeah.
And I thought what I thought was my passion was, the style and the fashion world and retail and all that. It never satisfied the true fulfillment that I got from working in treatment.
Right. And that's why I really wanted to have you on during Thanksgiving, because it's all about giving. It's literally in the word of the holiday. And what we've discovered is and take this very wholeheartedly, like giving is actually the most rewarding thing we ever do. And it fulfills us. And that's why it is today that our souls are on fire. And, it's been quite the honor to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Like I said, a mentor, role model. I don't always get to tell you this stuff, but I admire everything about you. I love you.
Thank
you. And
love you too.
That's been a big part of it, is like your faith in me before I even had the faith in myself.
Sure.
Which is what we so freely give back. That's the key to it. Having that faith in that person before they're able to find that miracle in themselves. That's the greatest gift I've ever been given. And you did it for me. And so now I owe it back to the planet. I can't do it for you.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, we keep
giving
doing
it away. That's it.
And that's it. It's a beautiful thing. Well, thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Appreciate everything, and appreciate you coming on the show today.
All right.
And wholeheartedly appreciate everything about what you've been able to do for me and in life. So, let's kick it again soon, right?
Thank you. Yeah, hell yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, Mike. Right. Thank you.